So we have seen the parameters like how the R, L, G and C comes into picture. Today we will see the equation and the impedance. So this two part is our target for the today. Equation, we'll see the wave equation and we'll see the impedance at any general point on the transmission line. Okay. So this all we have seen. And last time we saw like how this transmission line, uh, basically we consider the small subsection delta z, we consider very small subsection delta z, and we assume why this, we assume that this length of the subsection is tending to 0. So this assumption is clear to everyone. Can anyone tell me like why we assumed this, that the length of the subsection should tend to 0? Sumiran Singh, do you remember?
No, sir.
Okay. So like, see, what we started with is basically that at high frequency what happens is, so this transit time effect comes into picture, right? Remember, everyone remember transit time effect? Hai. So we discussed that how if the wavelength of the wave becomes comparable to the length of the transmission line, right? If that becomes comparable, what happens is we see something called as transit time effect, right? Because of that effect, what happens is there is a change in phase of the signal. Whatever signal you give, there will be change in phase and there will be a voltage drop. Okay, which is not for the low frequency signal. Okay, and that is why for uh, for a transmission line, what we do is we cannot apply KCL KVL here. Okay, at high frequency analysis we cannot apply KCL KVL. Why? Because the assumption for KCL KVL is what? What is the assumption for KCL KVL? That
Sir, we need lumped circuits.
we need lumped circuit. Very good, Shivam. So we need lumped circuit, right? We need lumped circuits. Okay, but here we don't have lumped, right? Here we have only two parallel conductor. So how do we analyze them? Okay, so what we assume is at any arbitrary high frequency, at any, so frequency can be any, like any amount, like any frequency. Suppose it can be 60 gigahertz, like we are talking of now millimeter wave communication. So in that the range starts from 60 gigahertz, okay, or maybe 30 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz, okay. So in that range, so the frequency is very high, the lambda is very small, and it is almost like proportional to the length of the line. And when I say line, it can be from the antenna, to the transceiver circuit, so that length is very small, or the transceiver circuit itself is made up of transmission line. Okay, we'll see how even the filters, the amplifiers in the at high frequencies, they are designed using this transmission line. Okay, so we don't use lumped elements to design our transceiver circuit, we use transmission line. Okay, so, and that is why analysis, the circuit analysis at high frequency is all about transmission line. But here we don't have lumped elements. Okay, so what we assume is we need to apply KCL KVL, right? So to apply KCL KVL, the as a basic assumption is there should be lumped elements, but here there are no lumped elements. So what we assume, that we divide this line into very small subsections, of each length delta z. Okay, and this frequency can be very high. So for at any arbitrary high frequency, our analysis should be true. For the analysis to be true, so the assumption is this length of the subsection. So we are dividing the transmission line into subsections. The assumption is what? The length of the subsection should be tending to 0. Then only at any arbitrary high frequency, our analysis will be true. It will be valid. Okay, that is why we assume the length of the subsection to be tending to 0. ठीक है. Now we consider each subsection. We need to analyze. What we will do, we will analyze each subsection. Okay. So how do we model each subsection? We saw last time. We model it using R, L, G, and C. Why this comes into picture? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me why this R, L, G, and C comes into picture?
Sir, inductor due to the current flow in the wire, so flux is generated, the inductor is come in picture, and
Very good.
two conduct. Sir, there are two conductors, so there is a in between the air also, so the capacitor is come in picture, and wire is and the sir wire itself has a resistance, so R is come.
Yes, because the conductor is not ideal. As the conductor is not ideal, it will have some resistance, right? And because of the current flowing through the conductor, there will be magnetic flux, and the magnetic flux linked with the current will give rise to inductance, right? And the medium between the two conductor, the medium between the two conductor is also not ideal. Okay, even the dielectric medium between the two conductor is not ideal, so it will have some conductance. Okay, it is not infinitely like high resistance, it will have some conductance. And because there are two parallel conductors, so there will be some leakage current flowing through the two conductors that gives rise to the capacitance. Okay, and that is why we develop a model like this. So we cannot say ki there is a R, L, G, C at a particular place. They are all what? They are all distributed. They are all distributed along the line, and that is why this circuit is called distributed circuit. Distributed circuit. Okay, distributed circuit, and the analysis will be called as distributed circuit analysis. Fine. So we analyzed last time, but still we'll revise. Okay, so this R, L, G, and C, they are all distributed, and that is why R is not alone. There is R into delta Z, L into delta Z, G into delta Z. Why? Because this length of the subsection is delta Z. Okay, so this resistance is not absolute. This is for this particular subsection or length. Okay, this L is for this particular subsection length. So basically L here, okay, will have unit what? Henry per meter. R will have unit ohm per meter. G will have unit mho per meter, and C will have unit farad per meter. So these are all called the primary parameters or primary constant of transmission line, and they are all distributed. So we cannot say L is for the entire line, where L is only per unit meter, per unit length. Okay, L, R, G, and C are per unit length. Okay, fine. So what is R? Basically, it is the combined resistance of both conductors. It is what? Combined resistance of both conductors per unit length. Similarly, L is what? Combined inductance of both conductors per unit length. Similarly, G is what? It is the conductance of the insulation medium between the two conductors per unit length. The unit is Siemens. So some authors may use Siemens, some may use mho. Okay, MHO mho, the reverse of ohm. And capacitance of the two conductors per unit length is also in farad per meter. Okay, so this is our basic each subsection delta Z. Okay, and last time we saw how to analyze this. So what we'll do, we'll apply KCL KVL here. So if the voltage V at the initial end of the subsection is V, so there will be some voltage change, and that will be, suppose, say V plus delta V. Okay, so the delta V is the change in the voltage. Similarly, if the current I is at the, suppose this is A and this is A dash, and this is B and this is B dash. So current at A dash is what? I. Similarly, current at BB dash is V plus delta V. Okay. And here the current because the current will come here and it will have some distribution here also. So either the current at this dV dash will be I plus delta I. Is this clear to everyone? Is this clear to everyone? Anyone?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now we'll apply KCL KVL. So when I apply KVL, okay, when I apply KVL, what I see is, so can anyone tell me when I apply KVL what will happen? So the potential here is V, and the potential here is V plus delta V. So what will be my delta V? The potential here is V and the potential here is V plus delta V. So what will be the difference in potential?
Sir, IZ.
I into
Z. Sir, bracket में R
delta Z plus the reaction.
J omega L delta Z.
Basically you may be knowing, so V is what? IZ, right? V is I into Z, the impedance. And what is the impedance of this line? It is R delta Z plus J omega L delta Z. Fine, this is fine to everyone? Okay. Okay, tell me, when I apply KCL, what will I get? So the current here is I at this node. At this node, the current here is I, and there is a current here, and the current here is changing. So here, suppose if delta I current goes, if delta I current goes here, what will be my delta I? Can anyone tell me? If my delta I current goes here, what will be delta I? So we know if V is IZ, what is I? I is Y into Z. Y is what? Admittance, right? Everyone know this admittance parameters? In network theory you must have studied, right? Yeah.
So G, G delta Z.
Yes.
And plus JC delta Z.
J omega C delta Z.
Delta Z.
Okay, into V, right? Is this fine? Okay. Now this delta Z component is length component. I can take out. So I will get delta V by delta Z. What will I get? It will be R plus J omega L into I, right? And similarly, I will get delta I upon delta Z. Delta I upon delta Z will be what? G plus J omega C into V. Is this fine? Okay. Now what was our assumption? Our assumption was that delta Z is tending to 0. Why we assume this? Because the analysis should be valid for any arbitrary high frequency, right? So we assume this, and when I apply this limit, that limit delta Z tending to 0, okay, when I apply this limit delta Z tending to 0, what will I get? This right hand side will be same, but what will the left hand side become? What will the left hand side become? This is the definition of derivative, right? First principle
dV
of,
by dz.
We will get dV by dz. We will get dV by dz as R plus J omega L into I, and we will get di by dz as G plus J omega C into T. Fine. So this equation, this differential equation, is what are the main equation of a transmission line. Okay. So this differential equation are the, like in the syllabus introduction we saw, we first understand the parameters R, L, G and C. Okay. And there are more parameters we will study. And this is the equation of the transmission line, dV by dz and di by dz. Okay. And so this is a differential equation. And we need what? We need solution to this. So what we do is, how do we get the solution to this differential equation? What we do? We again differentiate this. What we will get? Can anyone tell me if I differentiate this with respect to Z, what will I get? I will get d square v by dz square, right? What will be that? R plus j omega L is constant, right? This is constant. I will get di by dz. I will get di by dz. Fine. And similarly, what I will get if I differentiate this again with respect to z, I will get d square I. I will get d square I by dz. That is what? G plus j omega c into dv by dz. Can anyone tell me how can I simplify this? So we have di by dz here. We have got di by dz, right? We have dv by dz here. We already know dv by dz. So what will I get? I will get d square v by dz square as what? As r plus j omega l into di by dz. What was that? It was g plus j omega c into v. Similarly, I will get d square I by dz square as r plus j omega l into g plus j omega c into I. Now, what does this equation look like? You must have seen in your mathematics course. D square v by, suppose if I tell this constant as if I give a new name, suppose if I give this as say gamma square is r plus j omega l into g plus j omega c. So what will we get? D square v by dz square as gamma square v. Gamma is constant, okay, for a given frequency, and given RL, G and C are constant. RL, G and C are constant, and if the given frequency at any given frequency omega is also constant, so gamma is constant, okay. Similarly, we will get d square I upon dz square as gamma square I. Now these two equations, do you remember what does this equation looks like? You must have solved differential equation, okay, in your maths course. So this looks like your homogeneous differential equation, right? Homogeneous differential equation. And how do you find the solution for this? We know for homogeneous solution, what is the solution? Homogeneous equation, what is the solution? V is equals to some constant. If we are talk of this, so V will be some constant into e raised to minus this constant gamma into some z. Okay. This is the solution for this. Why? Because if I differentiate this, what I will get? I will get dv by dz. If I differentiate, I will get k into e raised to minus gamma z into minus gamma. If I again differentiate this, what will I get? I will get again minus gamma will come, so it will become gamma square, k gamma square e raised to minus gamma z. And what is this? K into e raised to minus z is what? V. So this becomes gamma square into v. Fine. So that means the solution for this differential equation, okay, the solution for this differential equation is what? V is equals to some constant into e raised to minus z, right? Is this clear to everyone? Reply? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this is the solution we are getting. This is the solution we are getting. Okay. So mathematically this is fine, but what is practically observed is, okay, this V and I are not just they are traveling in one direction, rather they are what is observed along the line. If you see along the line, what is observed is the V is continuously changing. The V is continuously changing. So there is a load end here, okay, and there is a source end here. This V, the voltage wave and the current waves are the magnitude and the phase of the voltage and current are continuously changing along the line. And what is observed is, so there is an incident wave. Okay, so one wave is going, it is incidenting at load, and it gets reflected back. So the wave gets reflected back from the load. And so the solution, if we write in this form, this is just a wave traveling in this direction, plus z. So this solution is only for the wave traveling in plus z. But what happens is the wave, when it travels, it gets reflected from the load and it again travels back. And what we observe is, so our solution will not only in terms of this forward traveling z, but it will be, so v plus, we write this as v is equals to v plus e raised to minus gamma z plus wave traveling in a reverse direction, which is v minus e raised to plus gamma z. So this is our actual solution for the differential equation. Okay. So these are the wave equations. Okay. This is a voltage wave equation. This is voltage wave equation where this is the amplitude of the wave traveling in forward z plus z direction, and this is the we can say this is the phase of the I mean, this also has some amplitude component, but this is how we represent. This is the wave amplitude of the wave, and this is the exponential component of the wave traveling in plus z, and v minus is the amplitude of the wave in negative z direction. So this direction is negative z, and this is the wave traveling. So our gamma is a complex quantity. Okay. So we saw in the earlier slide, we also here only we saw gamma square is what? R plus j omega L, g plus j omega c. So what will be gamma? It will be under root of R plus j omega L and g plus j omega c. Okay. And this is called a very important parameter. Okay, gamma. This is a complex quantity, and this is called propagation constant. So as the wave is propagating, this is the propagation constant gamma. Okay. And the unit is per meter. Unit is per meter. Okay. So this is a wave traveling in plus z direction. This is the wave traveling in minus z direction. And what we are getting is the voltage wave as the superimposition of forward and reverse traveling wave. And this wave will be exactly a standing wave. Okay. And we'll analyze that in future. So this is the wave form. This is the wave equation of the voltage. Similarly, for current, what we will get is I is equals to I plus e raised to minus gamma z, current traveling in forward z direction, into I minus e raised to plus gamma z. Is this fine to everyone? Any doubts still here? Prathamesh? Prathamesh? Priya? Any doubts still here? Hello? Hello? Am I not connected?
Yes, sir, understood, sir.
Okay, no one is replying. Okay.
So,
Tell me.
sir, I was having one doubt, sir. Sir, what does gamma mean in a signal theory? Sir, it's a propagation constant, right?
Yes, we'll discuss that.
So, sir, for a signal without any noise, should the gamma be more or less?
No, see, there is no component of noise here till noise comes into picture when we transmit something and when we receive. So at the receiver, the noise comes into picture. Okay, so the signal comes, suppose if X is the signal at the receiver, and then at the receiver, because of the circuit components, there is a thermal noise, so the noise gets added to the signal. Okay. Now here what we are studying is the wave traveling in the transmission line. Here we are studying this. The wave is traveling along the line. It is not yet transmitted, or it is not yet, I mean, there is no concept of transmitter receiver here. We are just focusing on the line. Okay. Any? Hello?
Yes, sir. So, yes, sir, understood, sir. So, sir, what will be better? Like gamma should be high or low for a?
We'll see that. We'll see that when we do the. We will analyze the. Just let me go to the next.
Thank you.
One second. Let me add a slide.